The voice of Indiana County, WCCS, AM 1160, 101.1 FM, Indiana in the Morning, brought to you by First Commonwealth Bank. And our interviews on Indiana in the Morning brought to you by Marcus & Mack, a law firm representing injured people. With us this morning here in the studio, Sid Reger, Stanley Chepaitis. Good morning and welcome to Indiana in the Morning.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
Now, the topic that you're going to fill us in about this morning, Fair Districts, Pennsylvania. And we've known from past news articles and past things that we've heard about trying to draw up fair districts for our representation gets to be a little difficult from time to time. But you folks have something that you're inviting everybody to take a part in, right?
That's absolutely true. We are sponsoring an event on Wednesday evening at 7 o'clock at the library, which gives a chance for everybody to look at the whole gerrymandering issue and take part in something that will give them more information and gives us more positive response from the general citizens. And what this event is, it's called Draw the Lines. Draw the Lines is an organization statewide of good government organizations that will invite individuals to design their own maps. It's a fun process. It's not designed to be onerous. This is something, I know it's wonky, let's face it, it's wonky. But this gives us a chance to demystify that and for people of all ages to participate in redrawing district lines and understanding a lot more about what goes into that process.
And that will be at the Indiana Free Library this Wednesday at 7.
Yes, and
right?
One of the important things to know about this is that these are this is a contest. It's a biennial contest where high school students have one category, college students have another category, and adults have a third category. And if you complete a map and defend your map with a little essay, and they select it across the state, then you can win a cash prize. So there's incentive here for us to demystify the process of redistricting.
Okay, Stan?
2 years ago, I think it's 2 years ago now, Sid, that we started advocating for fair districts. We became the sort of county leaders for that statewide organization. We found that hardly anybody understood the issue. It says it's a wonky issue. People didn't really know what the word gerrymandering meant, and the deeper implications, the real nitty-gritty, was just lost on most people. Well, 2 years later, I think we're finding that the majority of people do understand it now. I think Draw the Lines is one organization, one kind of activity that's really contributed to that understanding, and the understanding has become so good that a recent poll, I believe taken by one of the major college polling organizations and supported by League of Women Voters, showed that across the state, in all regions of the state, there is, by large majorities, support for the establishment of a redistricting commission, private citizens, independent, nonpartisan commission to redraw district lines following the U.S. Census. The numbers were impressive. It was Democrats by 66%, registered Republicans by 63%, and independents by, I believe, 78%. All supported this idea of the independent commission as opposed to the old process of allowing the majority party in the state legislature to do it.
Now, the voting districts that you're talking about are congressional districts?
We're talking about both congressional.
Okay.
In other words, the people that we send to represent us in the U.S. House of Representatives, right, as well as state House of Representatives and state Senate districts. These are all different sets of maps. Okay, the bills are there before the House now. These same bills were not quite defeated, but basically lapsed into last year. Now, with this level of support for these bills, if we do, in fact, have a government which represents the people, this would be the time for them to step up to the plate and pass those bills. The implication here, is that the people really clearly want this. And I think, the poll has shown that the support has been growing and growing. The more that people can understand the issue.
Now, these bills have new drawings, new boundaries.
No,
not yet.
No, these bills
These
are
just
simply bills that would establish an independent commission made up by certain rules. You can go to the state legislature website and read the bills. You can go to the Fair Districts FDPA.org, I believe, website, and you can find all the information on these bills. They're not drawing maps.
Okay.
What they're doing is drawing out the process and trying to do this in a way that is nonpartisan. I think the legislators would be very wise to take this up, because as we know, in the partisan maps that were drawn in 2010 were struck down by a lawsuit. I think, can well believe that if the process does not change, and after the 2020 census they do it again, whoever does it, we don't care which party's in, whichever party's in power, if they do it again, that lawsuit is probably already written and waiting to be filed. It won't get there. So a new process is really indicated, really required.
It's one of the ironies that in Pennsylvania, if you feel disenfranchised in your district, the only way you can respond to that is by suing the state. And that shouldn't be happening. And I can also remember, as I'm sure an awful lot of other people can, when the district line was drawn right down Philadelphia here. And all of a sudden, I went from having one congressman to another overnight. And I had no participation in that process, nor did anyone else. And that's the problem with the way it's done in the state of Pennsylvania, is that this process now is done behind closed doors. It's done by a handful of party leaders. And we don't have any input or any way to determine whether or not we're fairly represented. And Indiana County, being a semi-rural county, is going to be one of the last to be heard in this process. We need to have that kind of representation that will make a difference, and to draw the lines is going to make us all a lot smarter about how to do that.
Who would be the best qualified people to do this? Is that the problem? That's what you're trying to get at?
The current bill is proposing an 11-member commission, drawn more or less at random from qualified people within the state. The qualifications include, not being a member of any government agency or working for the government in any way, not having a spouse or family member who works for the government, so the wife of the governor can't be on the commission. It would take out of that, I believe it's, 4, 4, and 3? Is it?
Yes.
I may be wrong on the details, but it would be 4 people who are registered as Democrats, 4 who are represented as Republicans, and 3 who are registered as independents. And any final say on the maps, once they're drawn, would require at least one vote from each of those 3 groups on the commission. So it would have to have support from both major parties and independent members of this commission.
So what is the deadline?
Here's where it gets a little more complicated. To change the process for congressional districts, federal congressional, or congressmen and women, we can do this if a bill passes this year or next year. It would become law in the succeeding year. So that would be in place. To change the process for drawing state Senate and state House of Representatives districts requires an amendment to the Constitution of Pennsylvania, and that is a 3-year process. So that's why there are 2 bills. One is to do one thing and one is to do the other. Obviously, at this point, the 3-year process is a pretty much a long shot, to say the least. But the 1-year process can happen, and the commission could be in place.
So again, if you're interested in the Draw the Line program, Wednesday evening, 7 p.m., Indiana Free Library. Okay, you'll have to come back and let us know how that went.
Yes.
All right, that's Sid joining us along with Stanley this morning here on Indiana in the Morning. Our interviews brought to you by Marcus & Mack, a law firm representing injured people. Stay tuned. We're going to take another look at the news, sports, and our forecast also coming up here on Indiana in the Morning.